Hello and welcome back to another Bad Movie Reviews hosted by your favourite movie lover from down under, Ben, and I'm reviewing a film that I don't think anyone saw coming, being that the first one was... I really enjoyed the first film. It kind of ended as it was, but then obviously, as all films do, once they're financially successful, you tend to get a sequel, but it is none other than Black Phone 2, which is a follow-up written and directed by Scott Derrickson, who wrote the original Black Phone, and this one's set roughly 4 years later, where you see Mason Thames, who plays Finn, pretty much struggling to incorporate into his normal life after obviously his captivity, and his sister, who's played by Madeline McGraw, who is Gwen, essentially starts having these visions again, which leads them to a place called Alpine Lake, or winter camp. And to be honest, I wasn't knowing going into this what I was expecting. I did enjoy the first one, and I did think it was an odd thing to make a sequel about, but after watching it, it really works. I think this is a step up from the first one in a lot of factors. Firstly, Scott Derrickson's direction here is really great. I do think it's less of a horror film than the original, even though I don't necessarily think the original was much of a horror. It did have a few jump scares and things like that, but this one, much less. It's more of a sort of creepy, atmospheric type film, in a sense that, they're locked in this alpine lake. Obviously, Madeline, who plays Gwen, having these dreamlike scenarios where it takes a lot of... It's almost paying homage to... I got very much vibes of Nightmare on Elm Street, The Shining in this. And I loved the technical aspect of the film. When Gwen is dreaming, they use Super 8 film, which really gave the film a visual vibe and aesthetic and feeling. And obviously it's set in I think the 70s, and it really felt like it came from that time, this film, and that's the best compliment I can give. I think Ethan Hawke as the grabber is great here as well. He's extremely creepy, follows on from the first one, but from a technical aspect, I just loved everything about this film, and I think it's a really great follow-up, and I think they've leveled up technically, and visually the film looks much better as well, in my opinion. Obviously, going from a small kind of psychological horror set in a small town to then being a very, very dreamlike, spiritual type film, in a sense that obviously a lot of the film's set in the dreamlike state, and it got obviously into that side of things, which I actually really liked, and I thought it continued it in a well perspective. That obviously, being that the first film ended with Ethan Hawke's grabber dying, I thought it's an odd thing to follow up. Obviously, I understand these characters would be dealing with a lot of potentially grief and PTSD and things like that, but obviously having the same character come back, I really liked it. I really liked what they did with it. I think the best thing about this film, though, is actually Mason Thames and Madeline McGraw's relationship and connection there. I thought they're both great. They've both... Mason Thames has had a fantastic year, but Madeline McGraw as Gwen is fantastic in this film. All the performances here are great. My only really major gripe with the film, to be honest, is it takes a little bit too long to get the ball rolling. I think once they land, or once they arrive at Alpine Lake, it's kind of all, things rolling from there, but it in my opinion, it took a little bit too long to get there and hook me in. In saying that, it might be 30-40 minutes of the film before they get there, but it just kind of... I think the hooks were too far and in between the things that actually draw you in to the film. But overall, I think this is a genuine level up from the first. I think it's a better film. I think you've got better performances. I think it's actually much more higher level craft here on display as well. And I think the prosthetics, the design, the makeup, the score, as I said, my favourite aspect of it was just the visual aesthetic of the film. But overall, I think it's a step up, and, I have a feeling this probably is the last we've seen of this series. Whether there's a third one, I'm not sure, but I wouldn't be opposed to seeing it. I'm just more not sure how they'd make it. But if you have seen the film, comment below, let me know what you think. If you like the review, give it a like, follow us for more, and we'll catch you next time.